Well, it's time to nut up or shut up. Again. Alright. Now it's time to revisit Zombieland Double Tap. Now here's the thing. I don't think so. The last time I saw this was in a theater, which blew my mind. Not when I saw it in the theater, but thinking back to it. Because I think the last movie I went to see in a theater was Invisible Man. Before the world went shit. And just, I haven't been back to movie theater since. So, this brought back memories. Especially listening to the song during the end credits. The Burning Love by Woody Harrelson. I don't know how many times I must have replayed that on my headphones walking from the theater home. I think I went to Hy-Vee to get something to eat. But I remember just constantly on loop, replaying it on YouTube on my phone. Just because I loved it. And I forgot about it until this. And also, there are some things that in hindsight will catch you. Like, you hear a song in something now, and you go back and watch a movie from a few years ago. You're like, wait a minute, that's the song from such and such. That happened. But before I get into that, Zombieland Double Tap tells the story of our 4 survivors, now 10 years later, still trying to survive the zombie apocalypse and meeting new characters and facing off against a new threat, a stronger zombie type. So, right away, this movie kicks you in the balls with Metallica. But not just Metallica. Yes, my Stranger Things fans, and me, also a Stranger Things fan. When I heard that, I'm like, I forgot what song they played at the beginning of this. I knew there's a song that goes with it. When I heard, I went, turn up the... It's on the side of my remote, my TV remote. This is a Roku one, Roku TV. Turn up. And this whole opening kill is just fantastic. Like I said, hindsight, right? You hear this song like Master Puppets and Stranger Things 4, and you're just like, oh, that's awesome. And then you go back and you watch the movie in the opening, and you're like, type thing. It blows your mind. Like, how did I forget it was in this movie? Because I wasn't big. I would say I'm a mid-tier Metallica fan. I like some of their songs. Enter the Sandman, Master of Puppets, Turn Page, Yeah, and right away we get back in full swing with our 4 characters, now older. And they living at the White House right now. And okay, so this movie is good. I don't think it's quite as good as the original. It's going to be high praise for me for this movie, but there are a few things that I didn't like about it. And first is that they just relied on the same old shit again. Because they do this thing where they've been together 10 years, Columbus proposes to Wichita, and what happens? They take off. And then Little Rock takes off on her. It's like, really? We're doing the taking off on people again. Maybe it's because I watched both of these back to back, which I did on purpose because I wanted to see how it would work watching them back to back. So, for the most part, I enjoyed both of these very much. But, yeah, the whole taking off again shtick, like, we've seen it. Been there, done that, sort of thing. But here we are again. Not that long. And then, as they go out scavenging, they meet Madison, which is going to be a point of contention for worst character in this movie. Not for me. I thought she was okay. She's played by Zoe Deutsch, who I have reviewed on the channel before. And Before I Fall, she's a great actress. And she's good in this. She plays that character well. Apparently there were points where Emma Stone just couldn't take it. You could see her turning from the camera at some points too, just because it's so she's so much into the comedy. But yeah, I think the Madison character could be on some people's negative list when they read off negatives, like, oh, she was annoying, she was a pain in the ass character, but I think for what they were going for, she worked. So Little Rock takes off with the Beast, which is like their, I don't know how many car, the far that we've seen, fifth car with the number 3, which he never explains. Also, what happened to the Twinkie thing? Like, he doesn't mention Twinkies anymore because they'd all be nasty by now, but still, maybe they mentioned it once. I don't know. Yeah. So they go back to the White House where they're staying, and immediately Columbus and Madison, I'm guessing Madison, Wisconsin, they have sex. I mean, it's like loud, noisy sex, and then Tallahassee hears a noise, and it's Wichita is back because Little Rock took off on her. And the one rule with movies, one of the rules with movies, is show, don't tell. She just explains to us what happened instead of us seeing it. She said, oh, we found someone, and they both took off in the Beast. And, yeah, Berkeley. His name's Berkeley. It's Avajogya from Victorious and Spectacular. Yeah, Tajid, yeah. He's playing Berkeley, is his character's name. He is probably the most unnecessary character, but his character leads us to the climax, so we're going to follow that. We also get an update as they've named certain zombies. There's Homers, named after Homer Simpson. The dumb zombies are just stupid and do stupid things. Hawkings, as in Stephen Hawking, the smart ones that figure things out. They demonstrate this by showing how someone's trying to hide behind it. A door that's sealed by an eye lock, and the zombie comes in and bites out the eye of one of the guys laying there and uses it to get through the door. Ninjas, which are sneaky, and then the soon-to-be-discovered T-800s, which are the almost near indestructible ones. The Return of the Living Dead zombies, if you will, but they don't say brains. If they just had them saying brains, they could have made that connection. It could have been a call back to that movie, but it didn't. Zombies don't say anything. So, Wichita comes back. They decide they're going to go get Little Rock, and Madison tags along because, of course. And there's a running joke that perhaps gets a little tiring for me, just a little bit, is that they took the Beast, so Tallahassee has to drive a minivan, which he hates. And, I mean, there's a great payoff to it, but there are several times in the movie where he finds another vehicle. Like, they go to this place where there's a big rig bus, and he's going to drive that. But then he drives over a barbed wire thing that's on the ground, and they have to get back in the thing. And then there's another time where they find the Beast. Apparently it's at Nevada's place, or Reno as they call her later, played by Rosario Dawson. And the Beast gets destroyed, but lucky for them, it's destroyed by a what's it called? Big rig monster truck, which is driven by Albuquerque and Flagstaff, Luke Wilson, and Thomas Middleditch. That's another Victoria Justice connection there, because he was in Fun Size. He was Fuzzy? Yeah, Fuzzy. He has no beard here. At this point, he was the guy on those T-Mobile commercials or whatever they were. Verizon commercials, I think they were. At the time, I think he was doing those. So he was like the annoying guy in those commercials, I guess. But, yeah, they show up. And there's supposed to be a mock-up of Tallahassee and Columbus, which, again, is another thing that was shown in the trailers. And I know people just kind of would complain about these guys. Excuse me. But I think for what they showed him in the trailer, I was expecting a little more with them. They just end up turning into zombies. That's it. They end up turning into zombies and they fight them off. In Graceland, by the way. They're at Graceland when it's happening, because Tallahassee's a Elvis fan now, which he does give Little Rock, because they're celebrating Christmas on November 24th. This came out in December, I think, so I think December or November, one or two. Was it October? It was late 2019. Late 2019. I think it might have been October, because I think I reviewed this for Halloween Horror Month that year. Maybe? That was my first year of Halloween Horror Month, by the way. And this channel survived the COVID thing. In fact, I think it thrived through COVID, because I got stuck at home and just put out content after content after content. I was stuck at home for months. I just put out content for that. So I think it thrived because of it. And, you know, maybe if COVID didn't happen, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, it's not a good thing, it's a bad thing. But who knows how much, you have less content, that's for sure, at least. But, you know, it survived in spite of COVID. But, you know, I'm going to stop saying that word now, because they're going to frown upon it. But, I don't think it's funny. This movie came out, and like a few months later, lockdown. You know, did the return of Zombieland bring about a zombie apocalypse? No, people just getting sick and dying. A moment, please, for all those who passed. I'm being serious, by the way. Okay, back to the movie. Yeah, that was completely serious. I know my tone at first. But, no, that's where I was. So, they're going to find her, and they said her at some place called Babylon. Alright? So, as they're going to leave from there, the Graceland, they're going to take, after they've killed the two, which they turned into TA-100s, which they're hard to kill, but, they decide to take the monster truck. But Tallahassee's unable to drive it, so they end up in the minivan again. So I gotta go back, because they have Madison, and then as they're driving away from the first time they stopped and fought zombies, she almost gets bit, and then she's eating this trail mix, and she starts to get weird facial things and puking and stuff. I think she's turning into a zombie. So they have Columbus. Why you would pick the most unreliable one to go out and shoot her is beyond me, but we need it for a gag later. So to go out and shoot her, and we hear 2 gunshots. We don't see it, we hear 2 gunshots. Remember, sitting in the theater going, yeah, she's not dead. If you don't see it, it didn't happen, right? That's the thing. You didn't see it, didn't happen. Like, you know, didn't see a body, didn't happen. So later, after the whole thing at Graceland and fighting off those two, they're driving in the minivan, and all of a sudden we see this ice cream clown truck come driving by, and it's her, and she's back, and yeah. But they gotta make it to Babylon, or she says Babylon. And I do like, because there's the whole thing that Wichita is pissed that Columbus, I don't think she's pissed that he cheated on her. They've been together for 10 years, so you think it would be better. It's more like he found someone right away. But I think it's between both of them. They both know that she doesn't really matter, but she keeps digging in. It's his girlfriend. It's his girlfriend. And I do like Lacey. It's like, this is Columbus's girlfriend. Oh, it's official. I'm just like, okay. But, you know, not really. If making to Babylon, there's no guns allowed. And this is another thing where I'm just like, okay, this is just so that they can set up later. It's just so they can have a disadvantage fighting off all these zombies that are coming their way. They get there, and they sort of, you know, see that she's happy, and the others want to stay there too. Tallahassee doesn't want to. He's going to took off on his own, and so he's driving in a truck, which he got from them, I guess, because he blew up the minivan. He gets there and he's like, blows it up. He's done with it. That's the payoff to the whole having to go back to the minivan. Is he blows it the fuck up. So that's the payoff for that. But he's driving off in a truck and he sees a bunch of T-800s coming up their way. How he knows they're T-800s without shooting them? Maybe because he runs over a couple of them and they get back up. Maybe that's why. But he comes running back. He's like, T-800s, whole bunch of them coming this way. Did you melt down all the guns? Yeah, we did. That's how we made these chains. And it's like, but they wouldn't melt that fast, I don't think. Yeah. Except for one gun, which we'll get to, because that's a little bit of an issue. So, well, she does explain how she didn't know, but anyway, they set up this elaborate plan. They're going to blow up a bunch of them, and any stragglers, they're going to send them up to their doom, you know. And so, they do the blow up thing, but it barely takes a dig out of it. Barely takes any chunk out of it. And so now, they're screwed. Until Nevada somehow shows up. I think she knew where they were going. So she shows up with the monster truck, and they run things down. And it's a complaint. Somebody didn't realize. I've seen this twice in the last 4 years, but somebody didn't realize until I watched Cody Leach's review. He mentioned the soundtrack, and once out of it, I'm like, yeah, there's no big song. In the trailer, they had AC/DC. If you wonder why I mention people when I talk about certain stuff, is that I want to give credit to them. So he brought it up in his review, and that's how I figured it out. If I figured it out on my own, then I'm just going to say it. But it's because of him that I realized that, yeah, there's no real big soundtrack thing like in the first one. In the trailer, they had AC/DC Shoot a Thrill going on with this scene, but here it's just a generic score going on. I mean, I mentioned Master of Puppets at the beginning of this, and then the song in the credits, but other than that, I don't think there's a thing with Freebird where Berkeley is singing and he's doing cover songs and saying that it's his, but then she like throws it back in her face. She's like, even 12-year-olds know who Bob Dylan is, and yeah, she was 12 or 11 when the whole thing started. So yeah, after the whole monster truck, the thing tips over, which Columbus warned about. Oh, by the way, there's the whole thing with Columbus and Flagstaff, but they both have rules and commandments. That's a funny little scene. And then like, Luke Wilson playing up Woody Harrelson a little bit. That was kind of cool. That was kind of fun. But now they're screwed. But then the people up there start throwing stuff at the zombies, and they lead them in. Do the whole thing where they make them fall off. Tallahassee's hanging on the hook as they're falling off, and then two get attached to him. So how are you gonna get rid of them? Little Rock has the Elvis gun from earlier. Of course, you get it. Hail to the King. But here's the thing. One, that's Ash Williams' line, and two, like, they take all guns, right? Now, she explains that she was very high off. She smoked a bunch of weed, so she was really high and forgot she had it. So I guess that's the excuse for why she still has it. But yeah. And so they decide they're going to stay together. And Nevada stays with them because she and Tallahassee are a thing now. And even after all of this, Wichita says yes, which kind of seems appropriate, but also at the same time, it's like, yeah, he cheated on you, plain and simple. Like you took off on him, but one wrong does not make two wrongs. There it is. Two wrongs don't make it right. You know what I'm saying? Just because she left doesn't mean you can really sleep with someone. You know. But yeah, I don't know. And then Madison and Berkeley get together. And there's another gag that I particularly cares. There's one guy he keeps talking about group sex. It's like, shut up. But yeah, and so they're all together, and they're like, okay, we're gonna go home. Where's home? I suggest going back to the White House. You were safe there, right? There's no zombies. You know what I mean? Although there were no zombies at the time, but there is now. We get the start of the credits, and then we get I don't know if I remember if I mentioned this in my initial review, but we get a little thing before the credits officially start rolling of going back to 2009, which I want to say it should have been before 2009 when the zombie apocalypse started, but I guess 2009 when the zombie apocalypse started, because otherwise it was pretty fast for the zombie apocalypse to just keep going. I don't know. And Bill Murray is promoting, because Nevada mentioned something earlier about getting married. And Bill Murray, he was human and he got shot. So Bill Murray is promoting Garfield 3 when Al Roker turns into a zombie and tries to attack him. So he starts beating people up, saying catchphrases like, "I ain't afraid of no ghost," "I hate Mondays," which is Garfield. And the song playing in the background is from Caddyshack, "I'm Alright" by Kenny Loggins. And he's just beating up things. It is kind of... So, in the first one, Columbus said that started when someone ate a was it a rancid hamburger or something like that? Contaminated hamburger. And so, how did that change? Because Al Roker throws up, and then like everyone in the building besides Bill Murray and his cameraman are infected. How did that happen? Was the burger there and everyone, was the contaminated burgers start there? Is that where it started? I don't know. It's confusing. It's a nice gag, but it's a little confusing of how do I explain it. But it's a fun gag. And then we get Woody Harrelson singing "Burning Love," which I still love, and I forgot it was a thing, and now I put it on my personal playlist on YouTube. So I should see if it's on. I don't remember if it's on Spotify. If I already have it on there, probably already do. But we shall see. I looked over there. My phone's right there. Anyway, Zombieland Double Tap is pretty good. It's close. It's like this. It's what I say is closest to the moon without actually getting there. It's like in the atmosphere, almost into the space, but not quite. It's still pretty good. The highest you can get in pretty good without going to the moon. But, there's just a few things that way down. Now, Ruben Fleischer has said that Emma Stone had an idea of reuniting every 10 years to do a movie. No one wants to wait that long, but I could see the comedy in it, and they say Woody Harrelson's healthy enough to do it. But nothing's been announced. Ruben Fleischer also wants to do a Madison spinoff, and look, I don't think that's the right way to go. All right, she was fine in small doses for me, but I already know that some people got a little bit annoyed by her, and if they went for a full movie with her, just as the star, I don't think that would work. But a Nevada spinoff wouldn't be bad. Just saying. Anyway, so what are your thoughts on Zombieland Double Tap? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty. We got one more to go for March of the Living Dead. Let's do. See you in the next one.